your self-doubt was helpful. Now, that may not sound very comforting to you or it may not make sense to you, but I'm going to explain to you why it was helpful. Because if you have self-doubt, that means that you have not moved to the next place where you're meant to become in your life. You haven't taken the step to embody more of your authentic self. That's your life path. That's what we all do as we live. But then sometimes we do that differently. I was able to access information that I could guide people to who they're meant to become because I connected to source, spirit, however you want to think of it. And telling people how that happened was really challenging, saying I received precognitive information and that's why I knew what was going to happen in our world. I posted something yesterday. I just said Black women because see, I knew that we would have some changes. And then when Kamala Harris became the um, Democratic nominee here in the US, I said, well, that was the result of what the information I received, which I received in 2020 as well. And so the message, that title that I just read to you, I also received in 2020. But see, I had my doubt too, because when I knew that I was given all this work that could take any person to this really great life that they or could live because they would move through all their other stuff, I had self-doubt as well. And everyone who listened to me had that self-doubt because they said, no, that's not possible. And I talk about things all the time, and you will listen to me and you think, this doesn't make sense. I put out something earlier. I said, it's only fear. It's always fear. It's fear for all of us. That's why I wrote the book in 2019, because I know that's what people move through. I'm 73 years old. I've been a coach for 36 years. I mean, I've been a coach for a long time, so I've seen it with everyone. But the other part of it was I'm highly intuitive and I'm a prophet. That's the thing that I guess others didn't understand, and not everyone's going to understand it. But we're moving through a transition in our world, and I shifted my life several years ago because I knew we needed to shift the energies. Because if people are happy and loving themselves and being prosperous and getting moving through their old ideas and beliefs and hatred and anger and all that stuff, then they have this really great life. And I was given all that work. And it's what healed my life. And I talk about mind body healing, and people say, well, that doesn't make sense either. I'm telling you, when you become aligned with who you are, anything is possible. Why do you think? Why do you have limits? How do you think things happen? It's all consciousness. And so when you hear things like it's all in your head, that's true. It's how you have been programmed to think and believe. And so when I'm saying you can have everything, that doesn't even make sense. And I'm not judging you because it was hard for me to accept it as well. When I saw my life transform and this healing and things that even doctors couldn't explain, I said, this is really something. But I knew others wouldn't believe that. But now what I'm doing is I am going to believe it because I know how important and vital it is now, which is why I've said I'm only taking a couple of people into my program now because the other thing that I haven't done is finished all this work. And I'm not going to be working and doing this for that long. So if you are interested, go and sign up today because it will change your life. But you probably have a little bit of fear though, because that's what goes on. And I said that when I wrote the book on fear, I had to do it because I had moved through so much of it in my life. But all of this information that I received from Wilhelm, as many of you know, it moved me beyond it. But the one thing that I couldn't do, which you probably have difficulty doing, is fully accept who I was. Fully accept that I had and I showed demonstrations of this. I sat down every single day and wrote out information, and it's ascension, it's self-actualization, it's personal development, whatever you want to call it. But what it does, it heals your life if you keep going, because there are no limits to what we can do. But let me read you the message because today is the 23rd of July, but I went to the 24th. You see, I received everything in order of the universe and it's aligned. And so when I read the message, somebody on the 24th, and I'm going to put it up today though, because I want you to have it, but somebody on the 24th is going to read and go, wow, that makes sense for me now. Now I understand what I was going through. We are all connected. It's just consciousness. But this is the message, and you will get a lot out of it, I'm sure. July 24th, 2020. Your self-doubt was helpful. That statement is one that each of you will come to understand. And as you do, you will begin to rejoice in the life you were given or have lived. We said that last sentence in that manner, as some of you will come to know it in this lifetime and some in others. It is not essential to fully understand that now to gain value from this message. And there is some value for all, but we are also speaking to a few specifically. This morning, Roger came to his computer and we placed in front of him a video by Paul Brunton entitled The Short Path to Enlightenment. As Roger began to listen, the reason we wanted him to hear it became evident. Yesterday, Roger began questioning our use of language. Roger wondered why we seemed to use words and a manner of speaking that felt antiquated at times. When he listened to Paul, he found a style that was more ancient than ours. And Roger knew that while he could understand all that Paul was saying, Roger knew that others wouldn't. Roger suddenly realized why we called our work Empowerment Made Simple. Over the last few weeks, Rogers had an incident with his thermostat, and he spoke of it in one of his groups, but had not allowed us to talk about it because he still hadn't answered the question, as most of you haven't. Roger thought the temperature was too warm, so he went to turn on the thermostat, and as he outreached his hand, the thermostat came on. Then Roger thought it was now too cold, so he got up to turn it off. And as he outreached his hand, it turned off. We will tell you this occurred several times. Did he hold that power? That is the question you each are asking of yourselves continually. We will now attempt to tie this all together, and as you make sense of it, you will know your life is not and never has been accidental. In 1987, Roger decided to write a song, and the title was Better Than Me. Roger took that song to his friend, who was a music publisher, for critique. Roger thought this was the best song ever, but the publisher said it made no sense to her, so it would not appeal to others. Then she told him, everything in songwriting has already been written, and your job as a songwriter is to say it in a new way that will reach others. While the song's full lyrics could be placed here, the essence was to answer the question, who knows better than me? Roger was attempting for decades to answer that question in all that he does, but and doubted his answers all the way, just as you have. But now he knows his doubt was helpful, and now he will have the courage to see that it was him holding power over the thermostat, just as you are. And what that message is saying is that we all have power and is within us. And we don't always connect it. It's in consciousness and we access it in different ways. I happen to be a person who accessed information this way that completely healed my life and allowed me to bring in a philosophy at this time in our world that could have any single person become who they're meant to be. And that's what I'm doing now. So I wanted to give that to you today. So check out my work, come in, because again, there's just a couple of slots because what I'm doing with those people who come in, I'm giving you it's going to be open later, but we're changing it all and it's going to be a different, you'll see just a lot more information because I have so much that I'm putting in. It's going to be about your life purpose, your relationships, your financial abundance, your career, your all those things, working through those because you do that always in your consciousness and it becomes connected to your authentic self. When I'm channeling, when I'm doing a private session, I'm accessing different information just as I do when I'm writing. This is why I can answer your questions when we're doing a private channeling session. And I'm going to explain that because somebody just booked one for Thursday, and you will see that when when this happens, I ask you for your birthday. It's just the month and the day. The reason I do that is because I was given information in 2012, and this again is really difficult for people to understand, but I was given information that when I meet someone, I have a message that was given to me on your birthday in 2012, and it will resonate for you. And what you're all going to hear, because I just did it again today, I was having a meeting with Gaia because I'm going back in October, and this time it's going to a huge audience that I'm doing this. But the producer of this, I did his birthday, and he was just like freaked when I gave him his birthday message, but he's going to use that during the presentation on October 19th. So that's going to be really exciting. And it's going to 180 countries, and so maybe up to 1 million people. I'm an introvert. I never thought that that would happen. But I also know that now is the time for it to happen because it's way too important. We need to become our authentic selves, and that's what I'm doing. And you can do that too when you decide to move over your self-doubt. And that's the fear that always holds us back. And I know that because I lived it. That's why I wrote the book. But check out my work. If you're new here, please subscribe to the channel and share it with others. But I just want you to know, and not everyone's going to understand or believe this, but when you start getting in touch with yourself and who you are, everything in your life changes. And then you will also be aiding our world because we're going to go through some dramatic, energetic shifts. And the energy of love, loving yourself, will shift everything to a new dimension for you and also for our planet. All right. See you soon.